If you receive this, share it with a friend who is feeling stuck. There's nothing as frustrating as trying to reach somewhere to do something and getting nowhere fast. There's also nothing as disturbing as seeing someone struggle simply because they're unsure of how to move forward. What do you do when you're feeling stuck? The children of Israel had this same problem. For 40 years, they were trapped in the desert, wandering around and waiting to enter into the promised land to claim what God said was theirs. For 40 years, Moses tried to prune and mentor them. For 40 years, Joshua and Caleb pleaded with them to seize the opportunity given. And so, for a journey that should have taken 11 days, they procrastinated. Deuteronomy 1 verse 2 tells us it takes 11 days to go from Horeb to Kadesh Barnea by the Mount Seir road. God tells them in Deuteronomy verse 21 of that same chapter 1, "See, the Lord your God has given you the land. Go up and take possession of it, as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, told you. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged." However, if we know this story, then we know that all sorts of trouble happened in that period of 4 decades. Israel rebelled against their leaders, murmured and complained about food and water, and also committed sins they vowed they would not. They even had a majority of spies. 10 out of the 12 presume that because there were giants in the land, that it was impossible to conquer it. What had happened? How could a nation that had defeated Egypt with miraculous signs and come out with great wealth see themselves as grasshoppers? Israel had allowed 2 things to happen. They had gotten too much in their feelings, and they'd also gotten too much into their heads. When both your logic and emotions are getting more expansive than required, that's when you'll start to get stuck. They thought that large walled cities, well-trained armies, and bigger warriors was an impediment for them to win any battle. They felt that they were not good enough, that they'd get crushed, and worse, some figured it was even better to go back to where they came from, into slavery. You see the point? Think about it. Let's look how your feelings and thinking ability can get out of hand and have to be tempered. Fear is actually a good thing. It stops us from driving badly on the road and meeting into accidents. It stops us from holding our hands directly into fire. But if you fear too much, the anxieties of life can overwhelm us to not face the day or complete important tasks. That's why we have different forms of therapy and various ways to aid the relaxation of your brain and minds. Passion is actually a good thing. It helps us to be hopeful and follow projects that are meaningful. It assists us to be with significant others and stay committed to them. But if you go too hard, you may end up people-pleasing or staying in toxic relationships and situations that are harmful to you or your family. The thinking apparatus of our brain is actually a good thing. It teaches us mathematics, the sciences, and concepts about time, matter, and space. It allows us to know about gravity and that mammals cannot breathe underwater. But if we didn't examine some more, we wouldn't have known the laws of aerodynamics and buoyancy. These laws show us that we can travel in the air and on water. If we got stuck at one stage, we would have never crossed oceans, continents, or gone into outer space. Where are you stuck today? What's been plaguing you? What challenge have you decided is too much or too overwhelming for you right now? I can simply say to you that the way out is just like it was for the children of Israel. The way to unstuck yourself is just like it is for anyone who's been fearful, had anxiety, or was in a bad relationship. It's also the same path as it was for the first boatsmen, pilots, and the pioneers of the space race. You've got to find the next right step or task and simply take it. Noah, the Wright brothers, and men like Neil Armstrong were doing things people probably thought were crazy. If you have a large aim or goal in mind, simply take one step in the direction of it and do it. But you've got to do it consistently over and over again. Planning and thinking about it won't get you anywhere. You've got to execute, get into activity, and complete tasks. That's when you'll start to progress and move forward. Don't get bogged down by how long something will take, or by wondering if the next step will be perfect. Simply take the next step, and then the next step, and adjust along the way. And what will happen is that you'll see something beautiful. You'll learn along the way. You'll get friends to help you along the way. Mentors will show up, and you'll learn shorter and more powerful ways to complete jobs. And then little by little, what you initially thought was too much then becomes unstuck. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 1, verse 9.